Hey everybody, and welcome to Q&A Wednesday, where I answer the questions that you have about your health and fitness goals. Now, this one's a really good one, and I have actually talked to several clients lately about this specific situation. And so I thought, you know what, let's talk about it, because we all kind of get to that point where we feel overwhelmed, whether it's because life is kind of changing or, obstacles are going to happen. I always tell people your goals have to be bigger than your obstacles in order to have success with your goals. Now, again, you can't avoid obstacles. You don't know what's going to get thrown at you at any given time. So we're going to talk about how to not, how do you avoid feeling overwhelmed when it comes to, reaching your goals? Because of course, when you have a goal, there's obviously some changes that you're going to have to make. There's some habit changes, there's some lifestyle changes, and it is easy for all of us to feel very, very overwhelmed. And so let's talk about the ways that we can not only avoid that, but be prepared for it and adjust as it is necessary. So let's talk about it. I love this, by the way, guys. My studio is very, very warm right now. I got to figure out a situation in here. I love my studio because it's nice and quiet and nobody's like, I love it, but it's just very, very warm. So we'll cut to the chase here. We'll get it done. I'm excited to see you tonight. Hopefully you are getting something great from this. By the way, you can go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. You can go all the way back several years and watch every Q&A Wednesday that I've done for about the last 5-6 years. It's kind of fun too, because if you go back far enough, you'll start to see that, man, I've learned some things in the last few years. And so sometimes things change a little bit, the things I talk about, but my sole goal is to educate you, because there's so much noise when it comes to the health industry. And it's very, very frustrating, and some of that information conflicts. And I don't know about you, but there's days where I'm going, okay, wait, so what's Looks like I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty. Hopefully we're good. But I will be posting this not only to my my Facebook page, but also to my YouTube channel. And I do have times where I get to post it to other social media platforms. So let's get real. Let's talk about how to avoid getting overwhelmed. And again, it is easy. So my first suggestion is you really have to not try to change everything at once. I get it. You're excited. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this thing. We get excited, right? And that keeps us motivated for a little bit until we realize how much work it's going to take, how much time it's going to take, and how much of our life we have to adjust in order to really fit what it's going to take in order to do it. So I don't love New Year's resolutions. I really, when I talk to my clients and I do a goal assessment, I talk about how, the longer it takes you to get to your goal, the more likely you are to stay there, because at that point, you've learned how to make adjustments with your lifestyle in order to get there and stay there, right? Because whatever you do, listen, I'm not a huge fan of keto. I'm just not. Because when I talk to people, I'm like, how long are you going to be able to do this? Are you going to be able to stick with keto for the rest of your life? And most people are like, nah, it's just to hit my goal. I'm like, then, so you're okay going backwards? They're like, well, no. Well, again, it doesn't work that way. So again, only choose one or two things that you need to do to change and to move forward, to have progress. Because if you try to go to the gym 5 days a week, make all perfect decisions on your food, meditate every morning, that's just too many things to change. Pick two. Try to drink more water, try to cut out sugar. Those are really great options, and definitely make them effort-based versus results-based, because honestly, it doesn't always work the way biologically you think it's going to. So keep that in mind, that it's really best off to make a couple of effort-based goal choices. Like I said, maybe it's go to the gym 2 days a week and drink more water. Those are really great effort-based things to do. Eventually the results will come as you see what works best for you. So number one, definitely try not to change too many things at once. It's not sustainable. It's just not. Sometimes it's okay to do that. When I was competing, I can do anything for 16 weeks. Oh, yeah, I just don't want to do that anymore. But again, that's not sustainable. I can't do 2 cardios a day, and that's just too crazy. So make it so that it fits your lifestyle. That's really super important, okay? So that's number one. Number two, you're going to have to set priorities. You're going to have days where work goes long and the kids are calling you going, we're hungry, Dad didn't make it home yet. There's things that are going to happen. What is the most important thing to get done? And I always tell people, It's not about hardcore, it's about consistency. So, if you, sometimes I have to listen to my body. If today's leg day and I am just, whatever happened, like I did a photo shoot Monday and I was just dead, right? So, I haven't done leg day yet this week because I know how much energy it takes. So I have to adjust. So set what your priorities are that have to get done. It goes right back to that first thing we just talked about, where only change a couple of things at a time. Once you start to get to that point where you've changed your habits, your lifestyle has changed. In the beginning you might have to work out because that will help you get to your goal, but then you realize a decade down the road, like I did, I lift because I already do. It's a habit. It's part of my life. I don't feel right when I don't do it, but it took me a long time to make that a part of my lifestyle. So keep that in mind. Also, don't forget that self-care is just as important as, the gym or whatever it is that's part of your health goal. So if you are not getting enough sleep, you're not getting some self-time, if you're lacking somewhere else, you're not going to be effective when it comes to that gym time, whatever that is that you're working towards. So make sure that it works for you, that self-care is part of that. I'm all about getting the biggest bang for my buck, right? I don't go to the gym and spend 3 hours because A, I don't have time for that. B, I don't want to. I'm already there working there all day. I don't want to spend 2 hours. Now that might work for you because that might be your me time. You put your kids in the daycare there and that's I get it. That's awesome. It's going to be a little different for everybody. But when I actually sandwich my workout between clients so that it kind of gives me a deadline. Like I don't have an hour and a half to get my workout done. I have 35, 40 minutes. I can bang it out and just be done. So, how can you be most efficient? Especially if you're a busy woman and a mom, that's going to be super important. If working out at home is the best for you because your kids are there and that's what works, make it work. There's no one right answer, right? So keep that in mind. Number 3, and this is my best tip that I could ever give. Be prepared, right? I find that the reason why people not even mess up, but the reason why people struggle or don't get everything done that week that they know they need to is because they're just not prepared. And I get it. Sundays, I don't want to spend time prepping my food or whatever it is. But I know that if I do, it's going to be a way better week than if I'm trying to play catch up and trying to figure out how I'm going to find time to make my food. So if you're prepared, you're going to be in a much, much better situation. I would definitely say that when my clients really struggle, it's because they aren't prepared. There's a lot you can do to be prepared. And again, if you're a busy mom, a business owner, and as a mom, we wear a lot of hats, right? We're the Uber driver to our children, taxi driver, whatever. We wear so many hats. They always say that busy people know how to get things done. And it's true because we don't mess around because I don't have time to mess around. So if you are busy and you are struggling to get some things done, preparation is going to really, really enhance your ability to reach your goal. It also takes a lot of the stress and anxiety off, right? Let me give you an example. So last summer, had some issues with my mother's health. She was in the hospital, and at one point, I had about 45 minutes to literally pack everything and leave so I could make it to a town a couple hours away and get to the hospital to be with my mother. Fortunately, because I already had all my food cooked and I didn't have it all divided up in my little containers like normal, but it was prepped. So fortunately, my daughter was there. Literally, I was out the door. Everything I needed, prepped in a cooler, my stuff to stay the night, everything in my car, go. So again, if I hadn't have done my food prep, and again, this isn't a competitor, competition, athlete thing. This is I want to be healthy and I don't want to go through the McDonald's drive-through thing. It's best to be prepared. That's going to be, again, that's my number 1 success tip for anyone, no matter what your health goal is. Actually, no matter what health goal it or what goal it is. It doesn't even have to be a health goal. Really, it's about being prepared, right? That's super important. So, plan the time. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So, and that's really true. All right, number 4, you really got to be open and willing to change strategies. If something happens, if you have a super busy week, I've had a couple of clients tell me, hey, I'm moving this week. I'm like, well, that's very stressful. You might have to do something a little bit different. Your strategy might have to change a little bit. Or, as my kids have gotten older, it's different. When my kids were little, like that's just a lot different on how that works. And so now, my youngest is 13. Most of my kids are adults. It's totally different. I still have to do some running around. I still have 8 people living in my house. It's just crazy. But I don't necessarily have to be there for every little thing. I don't have to, my kids can feed themselves at this point. So it's changed. My strategy's changed. Honestly, what's happened is I'm just busier at this point because I don't have to get babysitting. But the strategy might have to change. If you change jobs, if you all of a sudden get switched to the night shift, your strategies are going to have to change. So, I know that as humans, we don't like change. It's hard. The vibration, the feel of the vibration of change is different, and we don't like it. It's okay. If you can embrace that and work with it and get some help if you're unsure how to strategize differently. That's what I do. I'm a coach. Hey, now you're not doing this, you're doing that. Here's, let's try this. Let's see what works best for you. It really is about you finding your groove in order to make it work. And it's going to be different than your neighbor and that chick that you watch on Instagram. It's just going to. What works for them is not necessarily going to work for you. So don't compare. Right? Like, seriously, I am 46 years old. If I look at a 22-year-old who's never had a baby and she has all the time in the world to hit the gym, why would I compare myself to her? We're not even in the same realm of life, right? So kind of come back to also, if you're going to ask for advice, make sure that the advice you get is from someone you would change places with. Yeah, I've seen that one a lot. Okay, so number 5, avoid perfection, which kind of goes back to, and I'm a perfectionist. It's just, like I said, it goes back to don't compare. I find it fun. I do still coach competitors, and it's really interesting to me how a brand new competitor will start following a pro level bikini person, competitor, and be like, but I don't look like that. I'm like, she's been in it for 10 years and you haven't. So perfection is not required. And listen, success is not linear. It's not going to be a straight line. Trust me, it's going to be ups and downs and dealing with one obstacle after another. Expect it, right? It's okay to have somebody to bounce off of. Like I said, that's the benefit. I like when my clients text me and how do I work this? Then we discuss it and come up with something. It's kind of a group option, problem solving situation. So there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not going to be perfect. So don't expect it. It's just, and again, I expect it to be insane. Like, it's okay. I find it really fascinating when people say, well, I just really fell down on this one. Okay, but you did this, this, and this. That was great. There's nothing wrong with not making it there. So perfection is just not required, right? All right, number 6, ask for help. Now, I know this is hard. You're talking to a control freak. I get it. It's hard to ask for help. Even me, trust me, over the years, I get it. But there are going to be times when you might need to delegate something. My kids are a little bit older. Hey, I need you to pick up this one from school today because this is my schedule. I can't be everywhere. You have I'm paying for your insurance. Help me out. If that doesn't work, it's okay. There's other options. I have a lot of busy clients who have full-time jobs, businesses, lots of business owners. I've worked with busy surgeons and doctors and just, you name it, across the board. Not everybody has the time to do their own food prep or, that's okay. There are times when you can hire some of those things out. Throughout, my business, sometimes I hire somebody to clean my house just because it's not that I don't want to. Where can my time be more valuable at the moment? I don't mind paying somebody else. Or food prep. That's a really big one. I have a lot of professional clients that just don't have time, or maybe their spouses aren't really into what they're needing help with. There are food prep companies that you can purchase from. So again, you just have to decide what's most important, figure out a way. You might have to think outside the box, but there is going to be a way to solve that. You just have to get creative and you have to make it a priority, right? There's a way to do it. Listen, it doesn't matter what your obstacle is, there's a way around it. You just have to figure out what it is. You have to find somebody that's in a similar situation and get some great tips. That's a great way to figure it out. That help might be temporary, it might be permanent, whatever it is, just be okay with it. And again, as your life changes and your situation changes, your strategy is going to change, and go with it. This is a perfectionist and a control freak telling you you're gonna have to just go with it. I learned a long time ago that if I wait till it's perfect, nothing gets done. So I just have to be okay with whatever it is, right? Social media is a hard one for me because it has to be perfect, but then I would never post. All right, number 7, always have a plan B. You know what? I think it's super important. Over the years, I've learned there are going to be times when, I got caught in an airport once and I didn't have enough food with me and I was in prep, and what do I do? And always have something that you can do, whether it's, call somebody to bring you food, or maybe you maybe you don't have a gym there. So what can you do in the room of your hotel? Come up with a plan B. If you think about it ahead, then you won't get anxious. You won't freak out. You'll always have a way to deal with it. But no matter what happens, this is my last one for the night. Don't beat yourself up. You know what? Again, for some odd reason, we think that if one thing goes wrong, we're just done, right? It's not the way it works. Like, just keep trying. Eventually you'll figure it out. You'll find your groove. And even if it's not what you thought it would be, or you're not putting as much time into it as you thought you could, you're still at some point going to see progress. And celebrate all progress. I don't know why it is that it's like, okay, well, I want to lose 30 pounds. And then when I lose 15, but I'm really struggling to lose another pound, then I give up. Well, that's just silly, because you're making incredible progress. Yeah, you're not there, but maybe it's going to take a little bit longer than you thought. Maybe you don't even understand the science and it was an unrealistic expectation. But if you give up, then you'll never get there. And honestly, don't you already feel better with that, reaching that part of the goal? Yeah, phenomenal. You're still better off than where you started. So it's okay. Like, life happens, guys. You know, I'm in a new point of my life. What I'm working with in family and health and illnesses and things going on. It's interesting, and there are times where I have to kind of, shift to the side and figure it out because it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's okay. This is part of life. The people that reach their goals, the people at the top, it might look like it was easy. It's not. You don't see all the work going on behind the scenes. It's kind of that, if you've ever seen that motivational poster where, you see the top of the iceberg, but down below underneath, it's just gigantuan. Yeah, you just see the top. You're just seeing their results. You're just seeing that moment they step on stage, or that photo they just posted, with duck lips and their butt sticking out, whatever it is. You don't know what they've gone through, and not everybody talks about it. You don't know, so it's okay. And here's the cool thing. The things that you go through, you may get to help somebody else go through the exact same thing and inspire somebody else. So you cannot know the success without the failures and the downs and the struggles that you're going to have. It's going to happen. Expect it. You just have to keep plugging away at it and keep going. So hopefully that helps. I feel like I'm sweating to death. It's just so hot out here. I gotta get a fan or something. But you know what? I love this. I love talking about this. I love trying to help you. It's not about, I love offering the education. From the time I was little, I always knew that, teaching was something that I was absolutely into. I love educating people. It's not about telling people what to do. It's about teaching people how their body works and what the real science is versus the noise. Don't even get me started there. I want you to be successful. So keep learning, keep plugging away at it. Start with the basics. That's another great option, another great tip. Start with the basics. Focus on what you know is right. Focus on what you know works for you. So hopefully you have an incredible evening. You guys, I get my very, very best ideas from you. So if you have a question, an idea, if you want to ask about something we talked about tonight, you can either drop a comment down below or you can message me directly at Facebook Messenger. Again, if you want to see some more of the episodes of Q&A Wednesday, you can go to my YouTube channel under Fillmore Fitness, subscribe so that you know when all the new ones pop up. We're getting there. It's kind of fun. That part's kind of new. I'm like, ooh, got more subscribers. Because I want to educate you about the right things to do. Yeah, I get very, very frustrated with all the noise. So have an incredible night, you guys, and we will see you next week for Q&A Wednesday. Be happy and healthy, my friends. Good night.